Mr. Grisanzio 他会今天他来对我们来帮我们讲的呢是 OpenSolaris 这样子一个 distribution。我想在座各位有些陌生，有些不陌生。大家可能会以为，Solaris 是之前就是只有用在 workstation 或者是说 server 上面一个套件。那实际上呢 ，OpenSolaris 是一个近年来非常受到关注注目的一个新的 distribution。那Jim 他现在人住在日本，然后呢，他实际上他的 official title 相当长哈，叫做 Senior Program Manager of Community Management。那他告诉我就比较简短的，就是说他就是社群经理的一个角色。那主要的工作呢，就是针对跟社群的一个互动，那来做沟通。那他就会长时间待在亚太地区，尤其是待在日本，跟他日本太太在一起。那各位有兴趣的话，也可以写 email 给他。好，那还是再整理宣导一下，就麻烦各位在里面的就是在会场内的时候呢，请不要就是使用手机，请关静音或震动，谢谢。那让我们用掌声再来鼓励请欢迎 Jim Grisanzio。
Okay, so can everyone hear me? Okay, Nihon now. Arigatou gozaimasu. You will understand that in 1 second. Quick show of hands. Actually, first, it's really fitting that I follow Ubuntu because I'm also an Ubuntu user. And I've been using Ubuntu for a few years now for one reason. It's easy. I'm a manager. I'm not a technical person. I can install it. I can use it. And on the OpenSolaris project, this is a lot of where our direction is actually moving as well. But a quick show of hands before I start. He mentioned it earlier. If you can raise your hand if you use Linux or you develop for Linux, Linux users or developers, engineers, anybody. Okay. Now, OpenSolaris people. This is opportunity. Shirts here. So for the 3 people in the audience who raise your hands that use OpenSolaris, you get a shirt. So who, okay, come down here and get a shirt. Here, over here. Right. Go that back. Who else? Over here. Okay, there's a shirt over here. If you can bring that up to him over there, that'd be great. If you can bring that up to him. Yeah. Great. This is actually not unusual and it's not a problem. The OpenSolaris community is new and it's very small. And as a result, we Sun people, I work at Sun, we have to be very humble here because we are following other communities who have been here for a long time. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is, unlike Linux, OpenSolaris is opening from a closed system inside of a big company. Okay, you heard that your Canonical is 300 to 400 people. Sun is 30,000 people, and it's been around for 25 years. It's a very different situation. So as I travel around the world, talking to people about the community building, which is what I do, it's humbling because it's a huge opportunity. But it's very challenging from an engineering perspective to open 20 million lines of source code and to tease apart all of our development processes from our product processes. So it's a very different situation. This is an image in Beijing. I travel to China fairly frequently. I love it there because I go to the universities. Thank you. And what's nice about the universities is that, as you can see in this image here, I'm really old, and these kids are really young, and they think differently. They think very differently than I think. And I appreciate that because it helps to keep me a little bit young because I can't stop the gray hair. That's coming, and that's it. So let's see what I have here. I live here. I live right here in Tokyo. I'm obviously not Japanese, but I grew up in New York. I lived in San Francisco and Boston as well. I moved to Japan here a few years ago. And for an American living here, this can be a challenging experience. It really can be. And it's also very humbling. The reason I bring it up is because when I moved from California to Japan, most of Sun is in California. And most of the engineering operations are in California. So I now lived far away from my team. And that changed my thinking on how you build community. Because community is global. It's not only centered in one place. And it's been, for me, I think, very helpful to me when I talk to people that are far away from the U.S. Because I understand the language issues now. Because there's very little English here. Trust me, there's very, very little English here. And I also understand the time zone issues. It is normal for me to be working at 4 o'clock in the morning. That's normal. And I do that for one reason. The Americans are working. Okay? But it's not 4 o'clock in the morning for them. Okay? And so I'm constantly telling the Americans what it's like in the community. Okay? Again, this is not the same situation as Linux because Linux is already distributed. Okay? So we have to learn some of these things from the Linux community and the Apache community and the Mozilla community, etc. So that's where I live for now. I've been there for 3 years and I'll be there for a little while longer. Okay. This is what I used to do. I used to be in the construction business. I owned that machine. Okay, I was a developer. That's what we used to call it. Seriously, that was the term. Okay? Although I'm not an engineer, I was almost an engineer. But this is my perspective. I'm basically a project manager. Okay? I look at as much of the project as I can, and I facilitate things. No digging holes recently, but that's what I do. Now, this is how I look at OpenSolaris just in my mind. Okay? These are all the issues that I have to deal with as a manager at any given moment. And they're very diverse. Values, you mentioned earlier, there was some mention about values and transparency. Press leaks are a serious situation when you're opening closed code. Flame wars, we're actually having a few of these right now on OpenSolaris. Executive issues at Sun, market issues. It's a very diverse list of things that you have to deal with on top of all the technical issues. So for the next few slides, we'll talk about essentially website infrastructure, community organizing, open development, and all that is basically hopefully supporting the concept of contributing. Because one of the criticisms of OpenSolaris is that it's been hard to contribute to. That's true. It's been very hard to contribute to. Fortunately, it's been getting easier over the last, for the last year or so. So OpenSolaris can be confusing. Actually, do we have a CD? Do we have a CD, guys? Yeah, just bring me down a CD. So OpenSolaris, this is the main product. So this is our main product. What's really cool about this is it works. You can put this thing in your computer and it installs in half an hour. Now, I know that's nothing to you Ubuntu guys, but when I started on the OpenSolaris project, 5 years ago, this didn't exist. Okay, I was installing Solaris 10 from DVDs. I think 6 of them. It took 3 hours. And I was incapable of doing it. Okay, I gave up. I had to get one of the engineers to help. Because it was an enterprise operating system meant for system administrators, really, really smart people. Now we have this, okay? And this is not only something that you use, this is something that you can contribute into as well.